In 2018, historic Blundell's Cottage was transformed by two projects, one to restore the slab building and the other to redevelop landscaping around both buildings. To make the site more accessible for the public, provide a level central courtyard and creatively reflect on aspects of the landscape present when this historic landmark was a humble workman's home. As part of the project, the designers consulted the original survey maps for this area, and these beautiful hardwood posts are on the exact line of the original fence for Blundell's Cottage. So the house within the fence and outside, livestock, sheep grazing, horses, crops growing, a cow, maybe goats. So this cottage, of course, existed long before the city, and everyone that lived here had to provide for themselves. They had to grow their own vegetables, keep a cow for milk, etc. So this garden is on a spot as close as possible to the original location of at least Alice Oldfield's food garden. Alice, from World War II onwards, was growing food to sell to the burgeoning population of Australia's capital. There was no running water here, and the Blundell boys would have brought water up from the Molonglo River, which is quite a walk from this house, and filled these tanks so that there was water close by to keep the vegetables alive. We believe there were 3 ship's tanks here at the house during the Blundell time to water the garden and possibly other crops. We don't know what happened to them, so we now have 1 tank representing what was here. Before work began on the slab building, an archaeological dig was undertaken. Lots of stories exist about a huge fireplace being part of this slab building. But with the dig, it was discovered that under this panel here, there is scorched earth and the remains of at least 1 corner post, so we can be fairly certain of the size and the position of the fireplace. This building was taken apart timber by timber to be restored and conserved for the future. Almost all the elements have been retained, but some have had to be rebuilt, such as this window. You can see that it fits in beautifully with the original fabric of the building. Another echo of the past in the new landscaping is this garden bed here that continues over Wenduri Drive. This is the location of the dirt track that led up to the cottage from Scott's Crossing. The original stone building was first occupied at the end of 1860. We don't know whether this slab building predates that or whether it was built later. We do know that it's had a lot of use in its life. It's been accommodation, a gathering place, a place to ferment your ginger beer perhaps. Just under the guttering here on the roofline, we can see some gaps where the timbers would have come out to create the skillion roof that we know was here. This post was the edge of that building, and at times it was used as a laundry, a bathhouse and a garage. Out here in the slab building, we're telling the story of the Blundell family, who were the longest residents. They had 8 children, so this little property must have been packed. We do know that this slab building was used at various times as a utility room, a gathering place, and I can imagine that on a winter's day it would have been very snug. Over time, this room had many uses as well, but we do know that the Blundell boys slept out here. How do you fit beds into a space this small? Well, perhaps they had hammocks like this. Besides being the mother of 8 children, Flora Blundell was also the local midwife. So there would have been times when George, her husband, was banished from the main bedroom and sent out here to sleep with the boys. Now, George was used to sleeping rough because he was actually the bullock driver for the Duntroon estate. His travelling life would have been more comfortable if he'd had one of these. It's an early form of a camp stretcher, it folds down flat, but as you can see, it also folds up to be an armchair. Along with other conservation works and a curatorial overhaul of displays, these new projects mean that this much-loved little icon of our national capital's past will be here and remain open to the public for many, many years to come.